The one you're sitting on. Isn't it like a beanbag chair? The one you're sitting on. Isn't it like a beanbag chair? The thingy-majig. Oh Lord, look who's there. Everybody's favorite spokesperson for like nigga to nigga relations. The love doctor. I need to actually listen to his podcast. I heard it's really good. I think it's good. It's always when I'm at work though. Then I come home and they're like, well, it's finished up. And I'm like, are you serious? Okay.
Hi, so I'm back with my live vlog. Sorry it took me so long, everyone. But Miss Kendra Horton is here with me. She has been my friend for about 2 years. And the reason I mentioned that is because tonight, which was a subject of her idea, actually, we're going to talk about female friendships and why women have such a hard time being friends, being good friends to one another. So, Kendra, we'll start with you. Why do you think women have such a hard time being friends?
I think it is because we are just naturally, I'm not going to say like we're competitive, but we're naturally like constantly worried about how we look, how we present ourselves. And then when we see someone else that could kind of be doing things the way we want to be doing them, or getting sort of feedback from other people that we want, it just becomes kind of threatening in a sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like girls, okay, so I wrote a couple of bullet points. The first one was about upbringing. I think that possible upbringing has something to do with it. I think that girls, definitely, obviously, like men, they take the influence of who raised them. Like, you take the influence of your mom or your grandmother or your father, even if you were raised by only your father, or your siblings. Some kids are raised by just their siblings. So I think upbringing has a lot to do with how you act in your adult relationships with people. And I'm specifically talking about adult friendships, not like you were in high school and this girl stole your book bag and then you're like, bitch, we're not friends no more. Like that kind of. Yeah, right. So I also think that women unfortunately have a tendency to get jealous easily of like something that another girl has, or a man, or a man. That's the third bullet point, by the way. Girls fighting over men is usually the largest thing. And I feel like guys, if they do fight over a girl, they get over that shit. And more than likely, they end up being friends in the end anyway.
Yeah,
so,
right?
how do you feel about like women with jealousy, or like women fighting over a guy? Even if you want to name any specific situation that you have had with it.
I honestly think that a lot of it that goes on these days is started by the men. Like, men love to see that shit. Like, they love getting like the confidence boost of seeing two women go at it over them. So they kind of egg it on.
Yeah,
So
I've experienced that too.
Us, like 100%.
I agree with it. I think that sometimes it does turn into that thing where, like, especially if two girls are fighting over a guy, it becomes this like double-sided thing. But I also feel that if the guy wasn't mature in the first place, then that usually leads into these kind of conflicting things, and especially if the girls were friends to begin with, because I've lost friends over guys, guys that I didn't even like. Like it would be my friend and they would turn around and be like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna be with this dude, and then it would turn into this really weird thing. And I even had a friend tell me that they weren't going to hang out with me anymore alone, that it was always going to be her and him together. And I was like, but you and me were friends before this. Like,
So
who
was
I
it a
is.
close friend?
Yeah. Oh, it was a very close friend. And we fell out and we became friends years later because we grew up. And I remember being like, I never had an issue with you. You ended up dating this dude and you changed. Like, I didn't change, you did. And it was my friend. I mean, she had been my friend for like 15 years. So
hell no.
yeah, it like went crazy over a dude. So it's strange how loyalty kind of doesn't exist as easily as I think it does for men. Because I think maybe sometimes men are raised to be loyal, but women aren't.
But not loyal to women.
Yeah,
like another
that's
stuff.
true. That's true. They're raised to be loyal to each other, but and women aren't really. It's weird because I think women a lot of the time aren't raised to have friends, if that makes sense. Like, I think they're raised to be
more independent.
Yeah, independent, and to have competition with one another, but not competition like men where they have sports. Competition to who gets married first, who has kids first, who gets the job first, who gets the first boyfriend that drives a nice car, like that kind of shit. Who gets the biggest wedding, and like really weird stuff like that. You can go ahead and talk about anything. I think I've kind of talked about that whole bullet point. You can feel free to say whatever you like about
No, but
it.
it just goes back to, I think that we're naturally defensive. Like we see situations we want to be in that other women are in, so we automatically get kind of jealous about it. And some of us just aren't mature enough to say to that girl, just like, hey, I'm really, really envious of what you have. Instead of just like, wow, look at that bitch. She's probably like a gold digger. She's doing this or doing whatever to like get her way in some sort of way that's not like legit. Like we automatically turn to hating her
Yeah,
instead of just kind of looking at her just like, wow, she's got her shit together and she has all the shit that I should have and that I want to have. And
yeah.
we just go about it in a catty way. But I think it just comes because us being so independent, we just can't be honest about how we feel because we want to appear strong.
Yes. And the independence thing is so unfortunate because I feel like, women try to create a double standard about, that they should be treated equally and, all of this other stuff, but kind of don't really want to work the same as a man for it. And women create competition with one another in a different way. Like what I was saying earlier about, or actually, like what you just said about how they will, instead of just saying, oh, well, I'm happy for you. You have all this great stuff going for you. It'll be like, oh, well, this bitch got a new bag, or she, she moved into a new apartment. She got a new car. Like it is so confusing that a lot of women take that standpoint versus just having camaraderie, because I can't really think of a time as an adult where I was jealous of another girl, even if she had a ton more stuff than me, had, all her stuff going. I'd be like, man, I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm happy for you. You're my friend. I feel happy for you, like normal friends do. And I mean, it's just such a different environment. So moving into further into friendships with women, I want to talk about. I mean, and you obviously don't have to name any names, but just some specific instances of your friendships with women. I want you to talk about an example of the good. I want you to talk about an example of the bad and an example of ugly. Like when it just was like drag down, knockout, like I never want to see that bitch again. And why it happened, or why you think it happened.
Well, I think the easiest for the good is whenever I meet a female and we just relate so well and we can talk about crazy issues. Like when you first meet somebody and you have a connection, you could talk about stuff way easy with this girl that you can't even talk about with people that you've known for several years. So
Right.
I am fortunate to have like several girls that I can actually talk to. You being one of them. I message
Yeah.
you with stupid shit.
Yeah, you do.
So, like in that instance, that's really, really good when you actually meet people that you can connect with. On the bad, there's been instances where just petty women on Facebook like say that I act like a certain way because I'm like lighter on the spectrum of black.
Oh
So I've had that type
gosh.
of hate, unfortunately, which I kind of grew up with, which is I think it's retarded. So and they still come at me just like that bitch act white. This bitch does this. This bitch does that. She's a weeaboo. And it's like I don't give a fuck. Delete. Like what?
Yeah.
And then there'll be girls in real life who approach me, and then they'll come at me kind of like, "Do you even know who you are?" Because they see that I like play games and stuff. And since I'm older, they're just like, why don't you have your life together? And I'm like,
Ugh.
that isn't a sign of me not having my life together just because I'm not going to like coach and buying a bag. I'm going to a tournament. like
Exactly.
like I have literally had that happen in the mall, like down the street from me. So they're like, why don't we go shopping? It's just like, no, I have to save for Evo or whatever. They're like, what the fuck is Evo? Then I explain it and they think I'm like the wackest bitch on the planet. But
Yeah.
and then for the ugly, I actually had a friend who I was best friends with, I think, for like 10 years.
Oh.
She had a big falling out with her husband, and she thought it was because of me. because he sent me a text just saying, "Hey, could you kind of like let her be by herself for a while?" And I don't know why he sent me that text, but she ended up seeing it on my phone, and that turned into just like unnecessary drama. I don't even know why she was checking my phone. So yeah, that blew up because she's just like, "You ruined my marriage." And sometimes she'll even still like try to call me and stuff.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, that's some dramatic shit.
Yeah, no, that's super dramatic. I've definite, and unfortunately, I think that the whole light skin, oh, you're light skin, you act white, that I think that's a subject almost that is like a whole other show
Yeah.
because I've dealt with that my whole life too. I've dealt with you're not black enough, or you like video games and cartoons, and you've dealt with all of this other stuff, and that makes you not black, or that whatever. Yeah, it's been a whole. I've totally dealt with that too. Um, so the good, definitely being friends with girls like you, and I am also lucky to have a lot of female friends that are the same as me and who are Sugar and Spice, who's in the chat. She's one of my awesome friends. I have a lot of female friends that are, don't assume that I'm jealous of them. Don't assume that I want to steal their man. Don't assume that, like, all of this ridiculous stuff about me. They just like me because I'm myself, and I'm lucky enough to have a decent group of female friends that are awesome, and, and it varies. Like, some are from high school, some are from work. So, I mean, it depends. And I definitely got much cooler friends as I got older. That's something that I definitely have to say. But it's sad that I can have male friends that I've known for such a long time. Like a lot of people know Kevin Fair. I've known him for over 20 years. We went to elementary school together, and we have been friends ever since, and it's sad that I can have that kind of bond, but not have that similar bond with a woman. Like, my longest standing female friendship was the one that I had for 15 years, and it ended about a guy because I essentially told, or I guess this could be the bad. So this girl, I told her that this dude who she was talking to, we were in college then. I told her this guy who she was talking to, who was much older than us. We were 18 then, and this dude was like 26. And I was like, excuse me, that he wanted to just use her for sex, basically. I was like, he has no real interest in you. Like, he's grown. What does he want with somebody that's our age? I mean, I didn't say it that blunt, but I said it in that way. And so she got angry and thought that I was jealous, literally said to me that I was jealous of her because she had a boyfriend. And I was like, I can totally find guys. I don't want your man. If I wanted a guy, I could find one. But I'm telling you because I grew up around men and I know what men act like when they're trying to use a chick versus be your actual boyfriend. Long story short, he slept with her all summer and then broke up with her at the end of the summer. And then she came crawling back and, tried to make it seem like, oh, I'm so sorry. You were completely right. And I was like, well, yeah, I told you. Like, I don't understand why that was so confusing for you. But she was naive or whatever. When we ended up not being friends again because of a guy. And I was like, yeah, you can save your passive-aggressive bullshit. So the ugly, I unfortunately have a lot of the ugly. I actually had to write it down. I was internet harassed and berated for a while. I was called a whore all over Twitter by this girl that I was friends with. I've been called fat, ugly. I've been told to kill myself. I've been bad mouthed to other associates, like business associates, who coincidentally just came right back around and told me what the other people said. And it was just like, I never would speak bad about these people, but they felt the need to, I guess, make themselves feel better. And I mean, it hurt me at the time, a lot of the fucked up shit that they would say, but at the end of the day, it's their loss for not being friends with me,
Yeah.
especially the girls that did. I mean, there were some dudes in the mix, but it was mostly chicks, and it
How
was,
did it even start?
oh my God. First situation, the one where I was called a whore all over the internet. This girl was a underground musician in Chicago, and me and her, like, hung out all the time. We were best friends, and then she turned around and we drove down to Atlanta because she wanted to meet this guy who she liked, who had a music group. And it didn't go the way she planned. We drove them back to Chicago. She was supposed to set up shows for them to perform. All of that fell through, and she essentially blamed everything on me and said that it was all my fault, that I was too busy trying to chase dick, according to her, even though she was the one doing that. Everything that she did, she essentially said was my fault, and then said I was a whore all over Facebook and Twitter. The other one about me being called fat and ugly and told to kill myself, that was an amalgamation of like 3 different females that kind of collaborated, and it's a very long drawn out story, but it was really over something very stupid, which was really rumors that they assumed that I said, and then it was just turned into that I was the bad guy when I really didn't do anything to any of them. It's one of those things, and it happens, and it's sad that people react that way instead of just sitting down and having an adult conversation. And these were all people that I was friends with. But, I'm friends with some of them now, but a lot of them didn't work out that way. So, the next portion I wanted to ask, let's see. How do you think that girls can fix their friendships? Like, how do you think girls can be adult friends with one another and have like how you and I have a friendship and we enjoy each other's company? We don't do dumb bullshit to each other. We don't, create drama unnecessarily. What do you think would be the start for something like that?
I think honestly we need to just pick and choose the females that we're around. Like if we have insecurities and you're around a female that you actually like, you can admit that to her. And if she actually likes you back, she can probably help you with it, and she'll tell you hers.
Exactly.
I know, just like sometimes I'll get into the mood where I like to vent, and like most of the other girls that I know like to vent as well. So if you kind of break down that common ground, I think it'll actually make relationships stronger.
Yeah.
But the problem is you have to get there first.
That's true. And I think that definitely like trying to hang out with girls that have common interests is good too. I mean, because sometimes, I have some friends who are like normal, I guess, and don't really like nerd stuff or like games or whatever. And that's cool. But I also, a majority of my female friends honestly are nerds, and they like the same stuff I like, or they're kind of tomboyish, or they're, kind of similar to me. But yeah, I think that's a good standpoint too. What do you think is a good step towards stopping women who band together to hate one person? There are, like, I guess, form a clique to hate one girl.
Find out about the other girl first. Like, find out if she's even worth being hated.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's just like a girl who's just a normal girl who's under the radar and just got picked on for some dumb shit, or like somebody said something to her and she said something back that was seen as wrong. So then like some girl in her clique are going to go after them. So I think that before you actually choose to be on whoever's side, you should just find out about the other female first.
Yeah, that is communication. Like what I always say about romantic relationships, communication is the thing that will help virtually anything. if you're honest, if you communicate, you know, girls kind of also do this thing where they listen to one side of a story and then assume that
Yeah, we just assume everything else.
everything else. Yeah, and then just assume that that's the right side. Oh, I'm not going to talk to that bitch about whatever. I'm just going to.
She's a hoe, and that's it.
That's what she is. Instead of befriending that girl, or not even necessarily befriending her, but just getting to know her and then choosing for yourself whether you like her or not. That using your own brain. Girls tend to like have pack mentality where they run in packs and they just, one has an opinion and then they all have that opinion. And it's really unfortunate, and it stems from elementary school to high school to adult life. And it is so confusing how it doesn't go away. It, like, I mean, you can watch The Real Housewives and Bad Girls Club, all of those shows, and see that it stays, you know, and I think it's up to that individual to break away from that and have friends that are worthwhile versus some crazy bitches that are going to talk about you behind your back without knowing anything.
With us, we don't really see who's worthwhile. Like, we'll find a common interest, and if that common interest is strong enough, like, say for instance, I find a girl who plays the same games that I do, which is going to be rare as shit.
Right.
And so, it's like, I cling to her because of that. She could be a crazy bitch.
Right. That's true. But I think, too, also, women tend to not... Okay, guys can be friends and be polar opposites. Like, one guy can have his complete life together, like, have all this shit going for him, and then his friend could be, like, a train wreck, has probably had 3 divorces, and, like, is a horrible womanizer and all this other stuff. But they can still be friends. Women tend to do this thing where if they... Yeah, where their moms are only friends with moms, married women are only friends with married women, you know, that whole thing. And they don't branch out and learn about other people. I have friends of all kinds. I have friends that have kids. I have friends that are married. I have friends that are nerds. I mean, you know, I tend to understand the nerd girls a lot better because I feel like a lot of time normal girls get upset about arbitrary bullshit, just being frank. But, you know, girls don't take the time to be like, oh, well, maybe I'm not promiscuous and I have one boyfriend that I'm with, and then they won't have a friend that is promiscuous because they'll just assume that she's on some sketchy shit, or, you know, that she's probably all over the place or whatever. Just as an example, like, girls don't try to get to know each other. They just understand each other on surface things. Like how girls basically kind of dress up for each other and don't dress up for a man. That's completely true. Because I don't think girls do dress up for guys. I think they dress up so other girls will compliment them. But
sometimes that's true.
No, it is, you know, and sometimes girls are the only ones that will notice. Let's see. Do you have any other statements about how we could probably fix girls being friends with each other and learning how to be friends?
I think, like you said, it just comes down to communication. Like, we can't talk. There's no point in doing shit if we're just going to assume stuff about some female. Like, we end up clinging to the bad.
Yeah.
Like, if we hear something bad about some girl, say from another girl or some dude, we just need to look beyond that and actually find out if she's all bad or if that's all she's about.
Yeah.
Instead of just, like, judging her just because of one statement. So I think we all just, as a whole, need to communicate better.
That's true. Yeah, because I have befriended girls before where people, you know, said bad things about them, but I was still their friend anyway. I maybe found out the way that they were in real life on my own, though. You know, even if other people had said the same thing, I found out for myself. And that was what was important to me. Instead of listening to what other people had to say and then, you know, just not coming to my own conclusion. Because that would piss me off if I just, you know, missed out on somebody who possibly was awesome. Because I even have female friends that I've worked with who don't like each other, but I am friends with all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may not have gotten along for whatever different reason, something work related, something personal, but I am friends with all of them. You know, that's happened a lot to me. So, you know, I just try to not I don't know, I just try to not deal with people's issues, like their personal issues or whatever. If they have those issues, that's on them. If they want help with it and they want to ask me, that's cool too. But I mean, people not liking each other doesn't have anything to do with me. If that if that makes sense.
And do you think it's harder for females to approach other females, like especially in our community where there's very few?
Yeah, I do. You know what? In the FGC, I don't think it's as hard because I've actually befriended quite a few girls in the FGC. But I think that us as women are so used to dealing with the cattiness of girls from grammar school and high school that we don't know if I could just go up and talk to you and be like, oh, your shirt looks cool, or oh, I really like your hair, or something like that. Because seriously, I've complimented girls, like normal chicks, on their hair, or what, oh, I like your dress, or something like that, and they were bitches. And I would just kind of be, I don't know. And I would kind of want to be like, I'm not hitting on you. I just legit am saying that I like your hair. Like, I'm not being an asshole. I'm not being cynical. And that's another thing, too. I think girls are so used to other chicks being catty that they don't know how to approach one another and just be like, oh, we can be friends, because they have to put up all these barriers for like new female friends instead of just being like, hey, Kendra, we both like video games, we both like Morgan, we both like, you know, tournaments, let's be friends. That was essentially how our friendship happened. And other girls, I think, don't know how to do that, and it's sad, and it makes me sad, because like, being friends with somebody doesn't have to be that hard. Mm-hmm. And if it is, you're probably friends with the wrong person. But
do we think we judge too much on appearance? Like, because sometimes I know I do. Like, when I see a girl,
I do too. I'm not even gonna lie about that.
Head to toe, like she just came out of Deb.
No, yeah, I'm not even gonna lie, because I totally will judge people on their appearance if they. I just feel like we're adults and you should have proper hygiene by now. Not that you should look like a supermodel, and I've said this before, like in my blog about being sexy. You don't have to be a supermodel. You don't have to wear a full face of makeup or nothing like that. But at least like wash your hair and stuff. Look presentable. Yeah, look presentable. Like, don't look like you didn't brush your hair for 5 days. You know, that kind of thing. So if you have anything else to say, I was gonna open up the floor for questions from our lovely thread here. They are chatting it up.
Chat these folks up like a bug.
Right.
Hey, Mel, directly tell these people to ask questions, because they just keep following you guys' conversation.
Oh, hey guys. You all literally can just go ahead and ask questions. That is what we're waiting for. We're not really just like having banter because you all like to look at us. Let's see if I have any questions on Facebook. Do you have anything else you want to say, Kendra?
I don't know. It's just I don't know why we feel more comfortable around males. That's another thing.
Yeah.
A lot of females feel more comfortable around males. Not necessarily because we want to be wanted by them or whatever. I just think it's like a more like smoother. Like, we don't have to be a certain way or act a certain way or be in a certain thing to be around different types of guys.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree with that. Oh, we have a question from the Real Soul Lex, I think.
Like the Real Soul.
Oh, the Real Soul Lex. Can you move the window over a little bit? No. How do you identify why someone is genuine in their compliment towards you? I'm assuming they mean, how do you identify when a girl is genuine with her compliment? I mean, you know, after you're around people for so long and you learn how to deal with people, I think it becomes easier to read people and their actions of being disingenuous or not. Sometimes some people are hard to tell. Like, I have some people where I can completely not tell if they're being cynical, and they may be people that I'm around all the time, and I'll be like, and I'll literally just ask them, "Are you being sarcastic?" Because I am having a problem telling. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think. What do you think, Kendra?
I think the same too, and you can kind of tell by their voice tone and the way they look at you.
Yeah,
like,
that's
they kind
true.
of give you a look, just like
right,
that's kind of shady, and you can tell. Like, you have to pay attention to body language and gestures too.
That's true. That's very true. So, oh yeah.
Question.
Okay, keep asking questions, guys. We're waiting. We know you all have more questions for us.
Okay.
Right. Let's see. Let me think of a question I could ask you, Kendra. What was the? Have you had relatively positive friendships with girls in the FGC?
Yeah, for the most part. It's like if we have issues, it's usually something that we can talk about. Like, they're not like, there's a lot of females that are stubborn. I'm not saying names, and kind of emotional, but if we have an issue, it's usually something we can work out within a couple of days.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I've a lot of the time I do this thing sometimes where I will let stuff. I'll notice things pretty immediately. Like, I tend to be really observant, and I'll just kind of let it layer up. And if I get to a breaking point, then I will just kind of let that person know everything that they have ever done wrong, which is bad. It can be bad, and I need to stop doing that. But sometimes too, those girls will be overly sensitive. I'm a sensitive person, but I feel like they are so sensitive to where you couldn't just be like, oh, well, why don't you you have a smudge on your makeup or something like that, and they would just start crying, like that type of thing. It's weird. I don't know. It's strange.
What would you like to get rid of that keeps holding?
Okay, so it's
a trap.
It's a trap with all these X's. It's a trap. Ask, what would you like to get rid of I'm assuming in friendships that keeps holding you down? What do you think?
Just negativity.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest thing. Negativity, inability to talk, bottling stuff in. Melanie. Like,
I promise I won't blow up on you. You haven't done anything to me.
1995, you did this
to me. Let's see. Okay, so I have a question from Raina. She says, why don't women have something equivalent to the bro code? I think that's pretty interesting.
Bro code, I think they would think that we're all hoes.
That's true. Yeah, that's true too. Because, yeah, I feel like sometimes the fact that I do have more male friends than women, that people think that I have slept with all of them, and I just haven't. And that's just a natural assumption. I have 3 older brothers, and I grew up with them and around my dad, so hanging around guys is just normal to me. So, I don't know.
Yeah, if two men sleep with the same girl, they're Eskimo brothers, but that girl's a hoe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think that's probably why. So we have, I'm probably going to get really close to the camera because I can't read all of these questions. Sugar and Spice, do either of you find it easier to make friends with a nerd geek girl than a regular girl? I do.
I do.
Yeah, I really do. Because I'm getting way off center here. Sorry. I do generally because I think that nerdy girls are generally more tomboyish, and they're just kind of chill. Like, they're not really about cattiness, because more than likely they have been made fun of for being tomboyish, and it's just one of those kind of things. But
they're more open and outspoken too.
That's true too.
They're more like nerd girls that I know are very upfront.
I agree. Yeah. A lot of girls that aren't nerds tend to be like unnecessarily polite, and it's really weird. It's like, I'm polite in proper situations. Like, I don't go to my job and just be like knocking down the fucking door, "Hey bitches, I'm here." Like, not like that. But I think that, if someone is rude to you or if someone treats you badly, you should stand up for yourself and not just kind of let them treat you like shit. And I do think that a lot of nerd girls are very much more outspoken than other chicks. Okay. So It's a Trap actually asked us, what would we like to get rid of in the FGC that keeps holding us down? I couldn't see the whole question before.
You pop it out.
Well, for the male side, I'd say Chris G. Nobody can beat it. Now, for females, we just need to learn to approach each other and actually appreciate the other females that are there, instead of like whether it be like a cosplayer or an actual player or a spectator or like a guy's girlfriend. We need to just be friendly, because we're all in the same community at the end. Like, even if, well, I'm not going to say even if she stank and got like a bad attitude.
Right.
That's another thing. But I think we should just be more, we should approach each other more.
Yeah.
Approach as many people as I should.
I agree with that. I do like to meet new people all the time, and I've definitely made some really awesome friends from the FGC. And I think get rid of, I think that we should have more parties like with Super Yan, because that party at EVO was awesome. I think that the solution to this issue is all girls should play more video games. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that all the drama.
Do you think the girls should host more events, like just for girls? Like, say, for instance, like the Super Yan thing. Like, should we be like, so if X and X is going to this tournament, should we all try to get together? Should we all like collate on Twitter or Facebook?
I think that I personally have a really strange experience with dealing with like all girl versions of things, and some of it I probably shouldn't talk about on a live show, but yeah, I'll tell you about it later. But it's just I can't really, that would be tacky of me to talk about that situation. But, in the FGC, it's different from other situations in gaming. So I think that it would be okay for girls to have like a little powwow or all-girl dinner at a tournament or a party or, another all-girl tournament. Like Vega V said, an all-girl tourney.
Did you actually like the idea of that? Because I know there were mixed opinions.
Catty women stereotype versus the media propaganda created by men showing women catty
we didn't talk about media, because media I do think has a big effect on how women treat each other. Yanu Shook. He says, chicken and egg argument. Catty women stereotype versus the media propaganda created by men showing women in catty weak roles. What do you think? Which one do you think came first? Do you think it was media, or do you think it was women being fucking crazy?
I don't know, because look at the media. Like you mentioned earlier, the Real Housewives and Bad Girls Club, that is shows that are popular showing women being fucking crazy.
That women kind of thoroughly enjoy. Yeah,
and even Sex in the City, like you have the 4 girls showing each part of a woman.
True.
But they're both so, like, each girl is so overwhelmed by that part of a woman, they're all fucked up.
That's true. So, and that's true, and have a lot of issues with commitment and other things. So
we tend to model ourselves indirectly because of media. Like if we see new makeup come out, we see some ad in a flyer, we want to look like that girl. So I'm gonna say media.
Yeah, exactly. So It's a Trap asks, how long has it taken for you to Alubath? To be so godlike, Kendra. I'm trying to step up my vampire savior skills. Nice.
Well, when I first started the game, I mained Dimitri, and now my Dimitri is ass. So to get really, really good with fish, probably like a year and a half. Because I had a character crisis like a couple of years ago, but I've been on fish for a while.
Oh, here's a really cool question from Raina. It's actually on Facebook. Do you think it is okay for female friends to sleep with each other's exes? Apparently, men do not care as much.
We're emotional. I guess it depends on the time frame because we're emotional. Like we'll still somehow find a way in our fucked up, twisted minds to like go back at that and start a fight. Because even though if some of us are not trying to be catty about it, it could bother us. And then we end up bottling that in and it turns to cattiness when it actually bursts out. Yeah. So I think it takes a time frame.
Yeah, I already know that I would totally not be okay with that. That's just something I would be like, it would bother me, especially if it was somebody that I saw frequently. Lord Hollow says, Moxxie, you have a very endearing personality. Thanks, Lord Hollow. He says, you make it very easy to like you. Aw. Did you have any positive female influences growing up? Oh, that's so funny. My mom is probably like my hero. My mom was really awesome growing up, and so was my dad. Honestly, besides my mom and like a lot of the women, a majority of my mom's side of the family are female, and besides them, my grandmother, a lot of my role models growing up were seriously from video games. Like, yeah, like I loved Disney and all that stuff. Like I liked the princesses and all of that kind of stuff, but I always liked Mulan and like the cool ones. But Lara Croft, like legit, was my role model growing up. Like, cause we had Tomb Raider 1 through like 3, I think, and I used to sit and watch my brothers play all of the games, and she was like my legit role model.
Did you approve of Angelina?
I did, yeah. I have the poster actually, hilariously. I have the poster for the first movie on my ceiling. I love Angelina. She was another one actually.
Can you see it up there someplace?
Oh yeah, no, it's on the other side. Yeah, I have to take a picture of it and post it later. Let's see. We have some more questions.
This is really more commentary, but you might be able to pull a question from.
Okay, Mr. Ballgame 23. I never understood that either how a girl or woman can find their boyfriend or husband cheating with a girl and they will automatically hate that woman and not like her and then let the man slide most of the time. How can that be? How can that be like skip her and then become best friends off that also the male can become? I think he's basically saying like, how can a girl find her friend cheating with her boyfriend or something like that and then be like, screw the girl but still be with the dude? I have luckily never experienced that, and I hope that I never do, but if it were me, I would probably beat his ass. But then
fuck them both.
Yeah, and both of them. And basically, it would essentially, because it's like, well, you knew that I was with him. Like, why did you even try that?
Yeah.
Vega V asks, what do you think was the defining moment when you you stop trusting females as much, or a certain experience that made you take 5 steps back
from average girls. What do you think, Kendra? What do you think, or Vega V asked us, what do you think was the defining moment when you stopped trusting females as much, or certain experiences that made you take 5 steps back from the average girls?
Like girls who have gotten close to me to get close to somebody who I'm around or somebody I'm with. Then I just stopped. I kind of had to detach myself and stop being close to them as quick. Because I used to be a very, very trusting person. Now I'm more kind of offset. Like I'm more chill and laid back about it. But probably because of that. Like somebody getting close to me just to get so close to someone else.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that. I would say, I wouldn't say that I like completely just don't trust girls. I don't feel like I have severe trust issues at all, because I've been sent through the ringer with girls and guys, and I don't, you know, I feel like you just live and you learn and you get over stuff, but you realize that certain people are a certain way. And when you get through that and you get, you know, people will burn you, but you have to keep moving. You know, that you shouldn't let other people affect you to the point where it affects your real life. You still need to keep it going, make money, do what you got to do in life. Because at the end of the day, if you did what you were supposed to do as a friend, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think it's just easier to see through everything as you get older. Like you can kind of see who's real and who's just kind of there for whatever.
Let's see. I really want.
No more questions from the.
Oh yeah.
Chat. We take a look at Facebook. Rihanna.
Oh yeah, Facebook. Raina says, do you have the same requirements in a friendship with women that you do with men? That is actually a really interesting question.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, it is. You can go ahead if you like.
Initially, it seems like you would, but honestly, probably not.
Yeah.
Like, it's more with a woman.
I think so, too. I think that with girls, it's almost like kind of like a screening process. Like, I feel like it's almost like an interview. Like, you have to be like, so.
Requisite.
Yeah, you know. But, I mean, I could definitely say that, like, all of the girls that I've met out of the FGC, I've never felt that way with. Like, it was never like, I'm really uncomfortable being around you because you make me feel like shit because I'm bigger than you or what. I don't know. Girls poke fun at each other about really fucked up shit, and they don't. Girls, as sensitive as girls are, girls have never taken sensitivity training, because girls will call another girl fat, or, oh, well, you know, I don't know. What are dumb things that girls make fun of each other about? Hair. You're tall. Yeah, makeup. You're tall. You're too tall. What is that you have on? Or yeah, small breasts, and so this is my purse, this Tokidoki purse. And a friend of mine actually brought up a really interesting situation where, because we were talking about things that you should always spend a lot of money on, and I said you should buy a good coat and good shoes because you always need your feet. And she said a good
bra.
Yeah, a good bra, yeah. And she said a good purse, because people will always judge you on the type of purse you carry, which is really true. And I carry this purse.
I'm not a purse girl either, so I'm fucked.
Yeah, and I like this purse. I've always loved Tokidoki. It has tons of cartoon characters on it. A majority of their purses are like that. I'm 27, and I'll get on the train with, women. They'll have Michael Kors, or, I work with people that carry, like, real Prada bags and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And people do treat you differently, because it's almost like they feel like you're not as much of an adult as, like...
I have the characters tattooed on my body.
Yeah, exactly. And it is really interesting how when you're an older female nerd, how it kind of comes to this point where people are like, well, when are you going to grow up? Like, it's almost worse than how guys go through that when are you going to grow up thing. Like, with us, it's kind of like, well, why don't you have 7 kids and you haven't been married for 10 years? Like, it's just, it's really strange. Girls judge each other very harshly in friendships.
And I don't even know why. Like, we judge men less than we judge each other.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. That's why I was saying earlier that girls, when girls dress up, a majority of the time they dress up to impress another girl. It's really not to impress a guy, because the guy will think you're hot if you're wearing a t-shirt and shorts versus you wearing high heels and a low-cut dress. It doesn't matter, you know, but girls will be like, oh, well, she looks slutty, or she looks, you know, whatever. She looks like a boy, or, you know. Yeah, I mean, we really need to learn how to be nicer to each other. I think that's the best thing. Question. Oh, this is a really good one, Kendra. So Raina just asked, do you think women purposefully have that ugly friend?
Some, yeah, ones that are insecure.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I did that when I was younger too, because I was very insecure. When I was in, I think it was like the first year of high school, like I had a friend, like I would, granted, I would try to help her.
We gonna do your hair.
Like she was done. So, but like me and a couple of my other friends, we would hang around her just because we knew we looked better than her, which was like mad fucked up.
Yeah.
And I did actually apologize to her years later. And she was actually really happy about it. I expected her to be like, bitch, I don't give a fuck. But she was actually really cool about it. She's like, I knew. She's like, girl, I was done.
Aww.
Like, she's like, I think I needed that to just kind of realize that I wasn't presenting myself in a way that I should have been.
Right.
But I'm like, it was high school.
Yeah. And, you know, I've seen adults do that. Like, countless adult females do that. I know a couple people that do it now. And it is really funny to me that girls have that grenade friend, like, according to Jersey Shore. And it's, I don't know, it's just...
But do you think they try to help her? Or do you think they just let her just idle?
I think they just let her be idle. And and the ugly friend is the same thing as the fat friend. Like, on some real stuff, I feel like in certain situations, friends are not current friends now, but I have had girls that I've hung out with before treat me like that fat friend. Or like I was the girl that wasn't as small as them. And these, you know, and it would be like either really skinny girls or, you know, and I would never care. Like, when I went to Columbia, here's a really good example. I was in this student runway show, and I was smaller then than I am. I'm not that small anymore. But I was like a size 14 or something like that. And I was in this runway show with these girls that were like a 0 or like a size 2. I didn't care, but it was just, none of them talked to me. Like, they all talked to each other, and they were all skinny. Hungry. Yeah.
To talk to you.
Exactly. And they all talked to each other, and none of them talked to me. And I was just like, well, I don't really give a damn. Like, I'm still going to be in the fashion show anyway. And another thing that you brought up, Kendra, before we started the show was about internet friends. And I have a really good story really quick. So I dated this guy who was in the military. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do the sweet thing and, you know, try to befriend some army wives or like army girlfriends or whatever. And it was on an internet community. These women were so mean to me. And I was like, I had never experienced. Like, so this is what it started from. They were talking about, this was around the time when that movie Stop Loss came out with Ryan Felipe. And I was like, that movie was awful. Like, why did so many people like it? It didn't make sense how it ended. And I was thinking of it logically because I love movies. They thought about it in the way where they're like, oh, I miss my boyfriend or my husband.
Oh my god.
They cursed me out so bad. Like they kicked me out of the group. I went, and this was during MySpace time, so this was a while ago. And I went and like wrote a little, because you know how on MySpace you could write like a little blog. I wrote a blog about the whole situation because they like called me all kind of like, oh, this stupid bitch, and you know, all this other crazy stuff. These women were like in their 30s. I was like 22 or something, and I'm like,
Wow.
why? Really? You all don't have anything else better to do? And so then those went on my MySpace page, found the blog that I wrote about them on my private MySpace page, copied and pasted it in the group, and then they continued to talk shit. And I was like, whoa, you all are nuts. Never moving to North Carolina. I'm good. It was crazy. So that was my internet experience. I don't know if you have one.
But do you think, like, us as females, do we latch on to situations like that? Like, if some girl comes in, say, for instance, you have the FGC, and then you see, like, these new girls trying to come in, and from jump, they say something that kind of rubs you the wrong way. Do you think that we would hold that against them automatically, or do you think we'd still give them a chance?
As typical female nature, I think that we would kind of, band together against that person. But I would like to think that I could give somebody the benefit of the doubt and just be a nice person. I try to be a nice person to everyone that I meet who's new. But sometimes it is not that easy. And sometimes you just get a gut feeling that somebody is full of it, I think. And you just kind of have to take it as you go, I think. What do you think?
I think that we would initially be like, who's this bitch? Like, who's this bitch? Is she playing Justice? Like, what the fuck? But then we'd be like, she could be cool. Like, we'd probably profile stalk her.
Right?
Like, find out if she's actually really into stuff or if she's just kind of like a placeholder.
A nerd princess?
I think a couple of us would investigate.
Yeah, you know what, too? I think that we all are very protective of the FGC, but I think we should be because, sometimes people try to squander it and, use it for...
Our Kappa.
Yeah, exactly. But, and female friendships are really interesting. I think that, I kind of have said everything that I can say about girls. I don't know if you have any other situations you want to talk about.
I don't know. I think in real life, women, well, besides the stuff that you see on World Star, we're more passive aggressive than we are online, and that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
We see a lot of passive aggressive stuff online, and then offline it's just kind of like dirty looks and whispering, and so I don't know which is worse. I don't know which I would rather deal with.
So I have one more question. What's the most obnoxious thing another woman has disliked you for?
Yeah, I think I answered that earlier. Just me being lighter than them. Like, that's retarded. I find that to be mad stupid because I didn't control what color I was when I was conceived.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, okay, I want to be light purple. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're gonna hate me because I'm white. Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Being hated because I'm tall, light, and because my parents taught me how to use proper grammar. All three of those things. So Bully 160 asked, "What is a nerd princess?" So. Me and my friends have all kind of developed this term for girls that parade like they're nerds specifically to get male attention. To me, that is what a nerd princess is. It is the girl that is probably kind of a nerd a little bit, but she just uses it to bounce around in her low-cut shirts and get attention from boys. So
were you ever that way?
Yeah.
That would be another question tagged onto that. Were you ever like that?
Exactly. So that to me is a nerd princess. Let's see. So Vega V says, as nerdy girls, what are your viewpoints of pro-hos? Oh God. Do you think that they are actually that many pro-hos, or is it just hype? And have you ever been considered pro-hos? You can speak if you like. I know you wanted to talk about this before, and I have a lot to say about it.
I have been, because I am also tall and a bigger girl. I've been accused of being a man, a transsexual, a drag queen. I've had people ask me, when are you going to be a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race?
Wow.
That show is excellent. Like, I promise it. But pro-hos exist, yes. The only reason the title exists is because they let people in their business. Like, I don't think it should matter, like, whoever has sex with whoever, unless it affects someone else. Like, if you have women sleeping with somebody else's men, or do something that affects more than just her and that dude. But it only gets the title because it gets limelighted. Like, somebody tells somebody's business, and they're just like, oh, ha, ha, ha. But yes, they do exist. There are a lot of them. I am friends with some of them. They do not care. They just don't like when people talk about it.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Oh man, never in the FGC have I ever been called a man, but outside of the FGC, I've been called a tranny, I've been called a man, I've been assumed to be a lesbian because
people think I'm gay too.
Yeah, because I will just tell other girls that they're pretty. I mean, okay, that I do makeup and hair, and I understand people that are pretty. That's that's just really what it is. I don't want to have sex with you.
Or did you start online?
Huh? Oh, did I wait? Say that again.
Did you start at events or start online? Because I started
the FGC
online. So online for years, everybody thought I was a man.
I started in person because I started in the FGC playing at Columbia College Game Club. So that was how I first knew that there was a scene, found out about all of it. So yeah, it was in real life, and then it was later online. But yeah, been since I'm tall and all that other stuff. Pro-hos, like Kendra said, they do exist. I don't think I'm friends with any pro-hos. Maybe they're undercover. They haven't told me yet. If they're going to have whatever.
I can tell somebody that though.
That's true. I just had sex with 12 dudes. Like that's true. I think that it's your personal business. Your sex life is your business. Just like how men's sex life is their business, ours is too. And I do think they exist. I've been accused of being one before. And I don't even know if I want to delve into the scumbag that said that. I'll just say that we talked about him earlier, Kendra, and he wears a power glove all the time. So he called me a pro-ho. And with no real backup of anything, just because I was hanging out with my friends in my pajamas.
See, I don't see how he can accuse you of that when you're one of the few people who haven't seen the dictures.
Yeah, yes, and don't want to ever. So yeah, that happened. So so I've been accused of that, and it was funny. I hope it made him feel better, but it doesn't affect me because I know my own body and I know who I've been with, and it hasn't been anyone in the fucking FGC. So that's, whatever. I don't know. It's interesting.
But still, it's just like they can sleep with whoever they want. It's just the fact that they do it and then they go brag about it.
So Raina says, pro-hos don't exist. It's all a part of a scheme to make fuckboys look important.
A scheme?
At the expense of a woman's name. They are just regular hoes with bad taste. That's probably true because a lot of people in the FGC don't have any money. So I don't know I don't know what money they're getting. After, right? Yeah, who are you going after? Like, I mean, like, if you're going to go after somebody, go after, like, I don't know, but Ultra David, like, Ultra David's a fucking lawyer. Like, go after his ass. Right? You're going after, like, these broke-ass players. They're over here passing you around. Like, I don't get it.
Just win a $50 Persona tournament. You're just gonna get all the that Denny's meal for all of 4 people.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't have anything else to say. I inadvertently totally exposed this dude, and it's funny because Kevin Fair, my producer over here and longtime friend, has a Power Glove sitting right behind the television. Oh my god! I should put it on.
Sign off with the Power Glove.
That is so funny. I kind of want to go and grab it so I could show it. Wait,
That same dude told me, he was like, "You're pretty, but you'd look better if you lost 20 pounds."
Yeah, that did happen.
I was like, really?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Mm.
Dun, 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 dun. So, all right, everybody. Let's see. Okay, so we have one more question before we sign off with the Power Glove that I'm holding on to. Bully 160 says, Hey, is there a division between single, married, or married women with kids in the scene? Just curious. From my experience, there are all types of women that are in the scene. Like, there are women that them and their husband go to tournaments. And I've seen couples with their kid to tournaments. I've seen men bring their kids to tournaments. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it's really segregated. I've seen all sorts of. I've just seen wives. I've seen hoes. I've seen like there's all sorts of different types of people who go out. Like you'll see somebody in head to toe cosplay. You'll see somebody dressed like steampunk, and that's just like their normal style. And then you'll see somebody with their ass out. It's like all walks of life. That's true. Yeah, I've seen people with their kids too. I've seen whole families.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree. So we are about to sign off, and I don't think that I have anything else to say. But thank you so much, Kendra. You're awesome, and you're my favorite. Of course. And we are actually friends. We're not like we don't talk about each other behind each other's backs and shit. Yeah.
I'll tell you about it in 6 months.
Right. Thank you everyone for watching. The chat has been hilarious. I wish I could have watched all of it. And Power Glove is saying goodbye. Bye guys.